Computer. All right, this is our last session. Can you believe it?
Wow.
Cross that finish line as a champion. That's what Kay Arthur says. Do you think you'll do that? Why is it doing that? How'd I hit?
Class.
How did I hit split screen?
No, that's what that one looks like.
Oh, you're right. Sorry. Thank you. All right. At a glance for chapter 47. What do you have for at a glance for that chapter? What's happening in chapter 47?
Water flowing from under the threshold of the house.
What?
Water flowing from the threshold under the house.
Yes.
Yes.
I wrote healing, water, and land changes.
Oh, yeah. There's going to be a lot of changes, aren't there?
Mm.
So how about chapter 48? What do you have for chapter 48?
Land portions.
Yeah, it's mostly land portions, isn't it? Hi, Billy. Well, she's
Yeah,
and Bonnie is nice here.
for the tribes.
Yeah, there you go.
So what do verses 1 through 12 say about the water? What is it about this water? Hi, Billy.
Hi,
Kim.
Denise.
Kim, hi. I haven't seen you like forever. What does it say about the water?
It's life-giving.
It's life-giving. Ezekiel's vision of a man leading him through around the house, giving measurements. Water was flowing under the threshold of the house towards the east, from the right side of the house, from the south of the altar. Don't you like all that detailed information?
Mm-hmm.
What else do you learn?
Kind of sort of do this one better.
Where does the man take him? To the north side of the water outside?
Mm-hmm.
And what about the water?
It was coming from the south side of the gate.
Mm-hmm.
It flows into the Dead Sea, which will become fresh water.
Yes. Did you guys read that article I sent you on the water in the Dead Sea?
Mm-hmm.
And what's funny is it's ankle deep here.
Right. So I said it gets deeper as he goes on.
Yeah, and then he goes another cubic feet, and it's knee deep, right? And then another 1,000 cubics. Where does it reach?
The hips.
Loins.
His loins, yeah, or hips, yeah. Then after another 1,000 cubics, it was
River.
Torrent.
yeah, it wasn't some tiny little thing, was it?
Mm-mm. In the natural, water would go from very deep to shallow, but in this one, it goes from shallow to deep.
That's interesting. I hadn't thought about that. Whoa, we can't see that, can we?
That's what the surge did.
Oh man, I messed that up, didn't I?
It went from
Okay, so there were many trees on both sides of the river. Okay, let me tell you something. When I was at the Jordan, I was surprised. There was hardly any trees at all. Out in Jordan. We got a lot of background noise going on.
Sorry. Can you mute me?
Pardon me?
I muted her. She asked me to mute her. I did.
Oh, okay. So it goes to seas, makes fresh water. What's the big thing? What sea is that?
Dead Sea.
Thank you. Why is it called the Dead Sea?
Because it doesn't have an outlet, and so
There's no
as it
life in it.
evaporates, the salt concentrates and
Yeah.
concentrates.
Yeah, that's the one that I told you last week that I floated in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just cannot, you can't sink in it.
No,
I
Did you
tried.
Did you get sick from floating in it,
I was-
Denise?
No,
Oh, good.
I
Good.
didn't swallow the water. And you didn't
No,
want
but I
to.
tell you what, it's hard to get the salt off your skin and out of your hair.
Well,
you
that's
have
why
to wash
they
it
have
good.
showers there
They
afterwards.
do.
Yeah, and you take a shower, trust me.
I read
And-
somewhere it's like 6 times saltier than seawater.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
I
pretty.
think that's about right.
And
That's pretty
you
salty.
and you see pillars of salt in it.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah. But here it says the river has healing water wherever it goes. What's it healing?
How,
Well, wasn't the waters of Meribah where it flowed to, weren't those like, wasn't that water where people went to have skin lesions and things like that healed?
Yeah, well, yeah. Are you talking about in the ancient days?
Yeah, in ancient days.
Yeah, yeah, because they believe that it was healing water.
Yeah.
Only the swamps and marshes will not be fresh. And there'll be plenty of fish. There's no fish in the Dead Sea, y'all.
of course not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
There
fish
will be.
There will be, and trees will be able. Right now, it was very interesting. When I was in Israel, they told us that, or this is actually, was it Israel or Jordan? I don't know, one of those two. That, yeah, it was Israel because we had the Israelite driver. The Israelite driver couldn't go into Jordan because no Israelites are allowed into Jordan.
Mm.
No Jordanians are allowed into Israel. Well, you can get a visa, but you know. Anyway, I forgot what I was going to say. See, trees living on Egypt. I'll remember sometime.
You were talking about trees?
Oh yeah, there was no. Okay. Oh yeah. All right. So they would take water. One of the reasons that the Dead Sea is losing water is that they're taking water out of the Dead Sea, and they have a processing, or one or two processing places where they put the water through and take the salt out, at least to a point that they can water the palm trees and farms.
Yeah,
and stuff.
desalinization, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just really interesting, isn't it? The technology that they come up with. So we also read Zechariah 14:1 through 11. What was the deal about that? Why did we read this? This was, let's see here where it is.
God is good, man. Good, it's big.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember when it was?
In Zechariah, was it about the trees and the water? 1 through
Yeah.
11 is what it was asking you.
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
compare.
I didn't hear. Yeah, living waters will flow out of Jerusalem, half towards the eastern sea and half the Dead Sea, and half towards the western sea, which is the Mediterranean Sea. You don't want to talk about a pretty sea. That is, Mediterranean is pretty. That's not important. So they talk a lot about this. I think it's really neat, especially when you tie in and we get to Revelation when it talks about the healing of these trees in Jerusalem. You know, the nations will come and these trees will actually be trees of healing from the water that the trees are drinking from. So what were verses 13 through 23 about?
The division of the land.
Yeah, to the 12 tribes. Now notice also that Levites are not there, right?
Yes.
So Joseph's two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, got equal portions. Okay, but what did the Levites get?
The holy portion.
The area around the temple.
Yeah, the area around the temple. And actually, in the ancient days, I don't know if it's, I can't remember how it says, but Levites also were in each of the different, now they weren't divided like this, were in each of the different, let's call them states, okay? And
That's
where
right.
they were allowed a portion of land, it didn't belong to them, but they were allowed to raise animals and plant
Mhm.
food. Yeah. So the other tribe, all of these are equal portions, okay? Verses 15 through 20 describe the boundaries, the north, the east, the south, and the west. Verse 21 says that this is the land to be divided among the tribes of Israel. But according to verse 22, aliens living among the people of Israel at this time will also be given an inheritance along with the tribes where they live. Why would that be important? What would be significant or different about that?
I just thought of like today's dilemma with everybody wanting a two-state solution. If the peaceful non-Jews were all given a portion where they had been living, there would be no need for a two-state solution.
Well, yeah, because if you notice there, they have the whole thing, right?
Right. That whatever tribe they were living with, they just get a portion as though they were
But these are nasty Gentiles.
well,
Yes.
Everybody's the same.
yep. Such were some of us.
I think we'll kind of see where, there won't be such a big deal about, the Jews being different and everything. Okay, so Ezekiel 48, we have the land portions and allotments for the 12 tribes. Who's given land?
The 12 tribes of Israel.
Yeah, the 12 tribes, yeah. Dan, Asher, I can't remember.
Naphtali.
Yeah. Manasseh, Ephraim, Reuben, and Judah are given land north of the city. And then Joseph's sons, like we said before, are given a portion. The tribe of Levi has land within the holy allotment. The holy allotment with the sanctuary, the Levites and the priest is next. Then the south of the city, the prince's land, is on either side of the holy allotment and city property. I don't know how much, I don't go into too much detail and try to analyze us. I just figured, okay, that's Israel's business. That's what they'll be doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this was very important. And also they had names on the city gates. Now that is kind of interesting because there was 3 on each side. And actually they're given in the order of birth, I believe. So, you can, figure
No,
out. Yeah, there's north, east, and south.
but
and
Joseph
west.
and Benjamin were the last 2, and they're listed on the east.
Yeah, and I don't know why.
Don't either.
The firstborn was to receive the double portion because of Reuben's sin. Jacob of Israel gave the birthright to the firstborn, his second wife. Joseph was Rachel's son. If you remember right, Joseph was the favored son, was he not?
He was.
Yeah, because Rachel is the one he loved. He did not love her sister, who, they did a switcheroo on Jacob, and, that was pretty nasty business.
That was dirty trick.
Yeah, that was a dirty trick. So how does Ezekiel, now I'm going through this fast because do you really want to analyze all of the land? Or would you rather get to the good part, day 3 through 5? Okay, so how does Ezekiel end? What might this have meant to the people in Ezekiel's time? Would this be encouraging or discouraging to the Israelites who were exiled?
Well, be encouraging because they're exiles, so they're coming back to the land and going to inherit it.
Yeah, you are going to go back and you are going to have your own land, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Land seems to be important to people, doesn't it?
Well, yeah.
But I love that they renamed the city to "The Lord is there."
Ah, that's beautiful.
Yeah. And and they say that he won't leave from that time on.
Mm.
Yeah, and they'll have a city from then on. I almost sent you an article, but I decided against it. About what's going on over in Israel right now. Syria's getting into the business now. I don't know if you heard that or not. What big city is in Syria?
Damascus.
Damascus. That is, one of those things that I've always said, when you see Damascus totally obliterated, that means no one will ever live there again. Do you know Damascus is the oldest city in the world?
Mm.
Wow.
It dates back 5,000 years. Isn't that something?
Mm.
But when you see it that's why I always watch for what's going on in Damascus, because when it's totally obliterated, that means just flattened down. And a lot of Israel is destroyed. Then you know that you are in the end times.
That's
It's-
Isaiah 17. Yeah.
Yeah. So what, when I heard on the news yesterday about them going in, they're going to go in with what do you call it? I'm not an army person. Feet on the ground, the
Boots on the ground, maybe.
boots on the ground. And yeah, thank you. They're going to start going into Lebanon. And what's the other state over there or country?
Beirut.
Jordan, Lebanon, Syria.
They
Gaza.
won't. Syria.
Are they going
I
into
know.
Gaza then?
They're already in Gaza, honey.
Oh, okay.
You're way
I didn't know that.
behind.
Syria,
Gone.
Beirut. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's getting really intense over there. So who will make the offerings and sacrifice when the Lord is on the throne and in Israel's midst?
Israel.
The priests.
Yeah, Israel, according to Ezekiel 45, 16 through 25. These are also the ones who receive God's Spirit, cleansed with new hearts.
That'd be good.
Will there still be sin?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. According to Isaiah, there'll still be sin and death. Do the sacrifices and offerings save them? This is when you looked at Hebrews, Acts, and Galatians. What do they tell you about being saved? Do the sacrifices save them?
Jesus is the only one who's safe.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Are clear that only Jesus saves. The offering of his body is the only offering that takes away sins.
Mhm.
Israel is saved the same way everybody else is, by faith.
Mhm.
So them still doing their sacrifices, that was just a covering of their sins. I don't know if you understood that. It didn't really take away their sins, but it did cover them.
Right.
Mm.
Do you understand the difference between that?
Mhm.
Okay, because that's kind of important, isn't it?
Yeah. Some people, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, some people think that I read it somewhere that it's like the garbage in the house, you put it in a garbage can. So you just cover it. But then when every Monday or whatever day the garbage disposal came and then take the garbage away, so it's out of your house. So
Oh, that's
basically
neat.
just
That's a neat
taking
way
it
to look
away.
at
It
it.
won't be in the house anymore.
Wow. I've never heard it put that way, but that's true, isn't it?
That's a good
Yeah.
pick.
It's out of the house. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's out of the house. That's kind of like when they did, they have a little tradition where somebody hides leaven in the house and the children go around trying to find 11
Oh yeah.
In Passover.
out of the house. Isn't that something? I don't know why my dog has decided he's going to bark.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, we don't like that. We're trying to help him. So, what else will be on earth when the Lord returns? What will they do and what will they be like? Here's where we looked up Matthew 25. What did you learn in Matthew 25? Now we're starting to get into the nitty gritty. What she was trying to do was trying to bring things around. And I'm going to tell you, when I see things that are going, well, you know, there's different interpretations about this. But what did we learn in Matthew 25?
Well, there'd be only two groups, basically the sheep and the goats, but representing the believers and non-believers.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus is gonna sit on the throne.
Yeah, Jesus he's going to be judging the nations.
Mhm.
Now, I kind of wonder, what does that mean? If the United States gets judged with a thumbs down, do we all go down?
Oh my word.
You know, the unrighteous will go into eternal punishment.
Punishment.
What else do you learn?
That there'll be righteous people and they will inherit the kingdom
Yeah,
and eternal life.
and eternal life. Yeah. Then we looked at Zechariah 14. What did you learn in Zechariah 14? I'm trying to find what page this is on.
Well, it says that any who are left of all the nations that went against Jerusalem will go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to celebrate the Feast of Booths. It will be that whichever of the families of the earth does not go up to Jerusalem to worship him, the Lord of hosts, there will be no rain.
Yeah, so if you don't go, you don't get any rain.
Yeah, that's not good.
That's
So,
not good.
so are they the sheep of Matthew 25:31 through 46 then?
These are the nations that
That are
aren't.
against Jerusalem, that went against Jerusalem. So they'll go back begging for forgiveness, really.
I was reading the wrong thing. They're the righteous ones left who went against Jerusalem. So they went against him, but then they just said, "Uh-oh, that's Jesus," you know. And it's time for the Lord's return to be king over all the earth. So he's king of all of there. This is paying, what do you call it? Honor. You can tell I didn't get it. Right. I was going to say that
Retribution.
Yeah, that's what I was going to. Is that the right word? They're going to give him money.
Oh,
And worship the king.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're going to try to earn their salvation if they didn't already, if they'd gone against it.
I think they're kind of forced to do it, aren't they?
Well,
because if you don't do it, you don't get no rain.
But Judaism really has become or is a religion of works. You have to do this, 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 and this, and this. You have to celebrate this, 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 and this. So they knew those traditions. So it looked like to me they were trying to earn their salvation.
Yeah, because these nations have a choice whether or not to worship the king.
Mm-hmm.
In Zechariah 14. If they don't obey, then there are consequences.
Oh, yeah.
Because, well, we're going to learn in Revelation, he's going to rule with an iron rod.
Mm-hmm.
What does iron rod mean to you? What have you learned about the iron rod? If you ever want to do a study, that's a good one to do.
not much mercy.
True.
And
Absolutely.
there's the iron rod often resembles strength.
You're going to
it's like-
do. You're going to do what I tell you to do, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's like absolute authority. Nobody
Yes.
can contest. Yeah.
Yeah, absolute authority. You have, it's going to be kind of like a dictatorship almost, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That's what a lot of people are going to say. Okay. You even hear a lot of people talking about that now, even in the United States or, about the UN. Do you know the UN is requiring that all the heads of the nation make fealty to the UN?
Get. We already do.
Well, what did you learn? Now we're getting into Revelation. What do you learn in Revelation?
It's the time the Lord reigns.
Yeah, that's when
Yeah.
he is, and we sing these in songs all the time. He will be King of Kings,
Lord of Lords.
Lord of Lords. What about Satan? What does it say about Satan?
Now he will be bound.
Will be bound.
Yeah,
Going to pit for the length of the millennium.
right. But he'll be bound, so any disobedience by those of the nations cannot be attributed to the devil.
Mm.
So you can't say the devil made me do it.
Mm.
This is where I get that. That's exactly the scripture I get that from when I say that.
Mm.
At the end of the 1,000-year reign, the devil will be released and gathered the nations for war. This is where they talk about this might be the Gog and Magog war. That's all over the place. When we studied that, I said there was a lot of different people that say, no, it happens here, no, it happens there. I don't know, it happens sometime. But they will come against Jerusalem, but fire from heaven will destroy them.
Mm.
What does fire from heaven remind you of?
Nuclear blast or neutron bomb or something.
That's a good thought. Yeah. I just think of meteorite shower.
Yeah, there you go.
So, what else will be on earth? What will they be like? The church will be on earth, will it not? We looked at Ephesians 3. Trying to find where this is. That's on page 98 of your homework. 2B.
Thank you.
I found that one. Who will make up the church?
Jews and Gentiles.
Right. And then in 1 Thessalonians, see if I can find that one. That's on C. Goes on to page 99. And then this is where she has a diagram, those who are asleep and those who are alive when Jesus returns.
Mhm.
First of all, this is a letter written to the church. When Jesus comes, he will bring with him believers' souls who had already died. Okay? Those believers' bodies will rise and be caught up in the clouds, and the believers who are still alive at that time, they'll all meet the Lord in the air and always be with him. This is called the rapture. Now, a lot of people don't read it that way. Why would they not read it that way, do you think?
Mm.
Is this the way you were taught it? Or is this the first time you've ever looked at this?
I don't know why people wouldn't read it that way, because that's the way it's pretty well spelled out.
Yep.
Depends on which, it really depends on which translation you read.
Oh, really?
It really, really does.
So do you have one handy that isn't
No,
quite
I
as-
don't. No,
Oh,
I
okay.
no, I don't. You're kidding. But look at look at an Orthodox Bible.
Okay.
It'll read a
Thanks.
lot different.
Mm.
Why? This is the question. Now, I am not a theologian. I don't understand all. I'm not smart enough, But my question is, why would you go up in the air and then come back down? It's a quandary, okay?
Well, we're there for a period of time for the big supper, right?
Where?
In heaven.
Is it in heaven?
I think so.
Don't think so.
I thought so.
It's not real clear. It's not real clear. Oh, Claudia's actually in the house. It really is kind of for. Well, let's go on to Corinthians and see what we read in Corinthians. What did you read in Corinthians?
Corinthians 16.
This is another letter written to the church.
All
Is it-
believers be changed in the twinkling of an eye.
Don't you love that? What's a twinkling of the eye?
A
Faster,
blank.
faster than any of us can think.
It's supposed
Why
to
was
be
it a blink?
like 1,000 times faster than a blink.
Yeah.
Did you
Mm.
know? I don't know where I heard that from. But the mortal will put on immortality.
Yeah.
The dead will be raised imperishable. This explains what people believes their physical bodies at the rapture.
Yeah.
So you're going to get a new body sooner or later. I don't know if it happens now at this point or if it happens later on. Okay. There's a lot of different theories about it. I don't care. I just want my 30-year-old body back.
Amen.
No, I was one better than that.
I was at my top at 30.
Hmm.
I want whatever the Lord wants
That's
me to
right.
have.
Better
Whatever. I don't want to be 68. Okay.
or 78 or 80.
Yeah, 70 or 80 or 90, What about, okay, then we looked up a whole bunch of different things about the bride of Lamb. What does she dress like?
In fine.
Fine linen.
Fine
white.
linen.
Mm-hmm. Bright
Yeah.
and clean.
And then the armies in heaven following the King of Kings and Lord of Lords are described the same way. Ephesians says the church is like a wife to Christ, his bride.
Mhm.
I asked a guy once, well, I've even asked I asked several guys, how do you feel being called a bride of Christ? And absolutely no man had a problem with that at all.
There again, it's what he told us.
Yep.
Then we go into Revelation
17.
17:14. And there, those with the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords are called chosen
Chosen and faithful.
and faithful. This sounds like the description of the church.
That's good too.
Then we looked, we did a lot of looking up, but there's a lot of stuff to look up,
Mhm.
So Zechariah 14, what happens?
So
Well, apparently, there were some that went up with Jesus will come back with him. Is that right?
That's why I'm saying, there's all this up and down stuff, So you got to be real careful with it because it gets pretty confusing, doesn't it?
I don't mind going up if I get to come back with Jesus.
Well, you'll
Yeah.
get to come back because otherwise you just go on down.
I don't know about right now.
I'll be able to ride that horse and not fall off.
The church is sanctified by Jesus.
Mhm.
This is when you're fully sanctified. Did you know that?
Mm-mm.
Right now, we're in the process of being sanctified, are we not?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The church will be with the Lord from that time, the time he comes to cleanse, to change all believers and take them with him. When he returns to earth to rule as King of Kings. Now, this is when they say, a lot of people say that's when, while we're all up there waiting for the tribulation to take place and everything, that's when the wedding supper takes place.
Ah.
Oh.
So lots of food and drink.
Bring it on.
But I find it really interesting when our priests, we have communion every week, And when the priest, after the priest breaks the bread, and says, it says, come and join in the wedding feast of the Lord. That's what we do every time we have communion.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was inspirational to me one day. We can do that right now.
Mm.
So when he returns to earth as ruler, King of Kings, the church will be with him in imperishable and immortal bodies. Imperishable. Okay, that means we won't perish anymore, right? No sin and no death. The church will not be making sacrifice and offerings during the 1,000-year reign, the time of Ezekiel. So
I have a question,
go
if I
ahead.
may. Yeah, when Adam and Eve, before they sinned, is their body imperishable then?
Yes,
Okay, because doesn't have sin there.
correct.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. When
Thank
they
you.
when they went into sin, that's when they lost what they lose.
Eternal life.
Yeah, and he says you will surely die. That was
Yes.
one of the things that, the snake said, "Will not surely die."
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it might take 900 years, but they did die.
Yes.
So that was one reason they got ejected from the Garden of Eden, so they would not eat from the tree of life.
Yeah,
And they,
because eating from the tree, and the tree of life will be back on earth. I find that very interesting.
Denise, doesn't it say somewhere in the 2 chapters we studied this week that the lives of the people are going to be extended, maybe not as long
Yeah.
as Adam and Eve's, but they will be, like, if you're 100 years old, you'll be considered young.
A child, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, there'll still be death and stuff, but you're
I thought it said
if
no
you're
death.
not during the 1,000 years. During the 1,000 years, there'll still be death.
Yeah, but the people will still be being born, I'm assuming.
Yes, they
Dur-
will be.
Yeah, during this time. And I mean, you could live 200 or 300 years and it wouldn't be uncommon. That's my.
Well, I think it's 1,000 years is just a term. It doesn't mean literally 1,000 years.
Okay.
It's just a season. There's a season, and during that season, people will live longer. But look at people now; they live longer now, don't they?
This is from Isaiah when it said,
What does Isaiah say? Isaiah's a complicated. There, you're muted, Kathy.
Isaiah says, I will also rejoice in Jerusalem and be glad in my people, and they will no longer be heard in her the voice of weeping and the sound of crying. No longer will there be in it an infant who lives but a few days, or an old man who does not live out his days. For the youth will die at the age of 100, and one who does not reach the age of 100 will be thought accursed. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's Revelation 21 and 22 about?
It's when the king rules on earth. Pardon.
Well, after 1,000 years, when I said that, that's just a term used for a season. When Jesus, the King, rules on earth, this present heaven and earth will be destroyed. Now that's not quite true. Okay, I think Kay has changed her mind on this definition. When it says a new heaven and a new earth, what that means is a restored heaven and earth. When you study the actual words, it'll be renewed. For instance, if a nuclear bomb took out the earth, let's just say that was a nuclear bomb, it will eventually renew itself, will it not?
Mm.
Yeah. So it's a new earth, a new Jerusalem. It's renewed, should be the real term used in that. And if you do a word study during this, you will find that out. Okay. New heaven, it'll be different because there's not going to be any seas. Now, I don't know how that's going to work, but well, there's no death. There's no temple in the New Jerusalem because the God Almighty and the Lamb are in the temple, the tabernacle. The real tabernacle will come down and be part of earth. Now, when you read it, it's supposed to be like a cube.
Yeah.
That's way bigger than the whole earth. So I don't know how this cube could sit down on earth. So see how it's, you really have to take these things and say, a lot of this has to be symbolic, does it not?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But if you break down the size of that cubic that they describe in Revelation, it's way bigger than the size of the earth.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
much-
So yeah, I mean, so you gotta know that something is symbolic here. And it's really funny to watch some of these sci-fi mysteries, where there's cubes flying around everywhere, or cubes that are worlds and stuff. Wonder where they got that idea.
So no wonder, Jesus is in his house. There are many, 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 many rooms, and he's probably up there still hammering away.
Yeah, because he's a carpenter.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he really did have a lot of work to do, even though he's God.
He's the Lord's son.
Well,
There's many mansions.
just,
He's making homes for us.
Yeah,
We'll
that's
have-
right.
I feel like
If I remember right, we'll actually have a home in Israel, and then we'll also live out in wherever we want to, live.
Glory. Glory.
Okay.
But
Like
you
I
could
would not want to live in
Heavens.
Alaska.
for a while. And the Lord, I don't care.
But the foundation stones are named for the 12
Right.
apostles of the church and the 12 gates have the Israel tribe names.
Mhm.
Isn't that interesting?
Mm.
Okay, now the city is 1,500 miles square as high. It's made of pure gold like clear glass.
That'll be something.
Yeah. Now this is when I find the river of life and the tree of life are there, similar to the healing waters from under the temple, and the tree bearing fruit 12 months, and the leaves. Okay, the leaves. I was wrong about that. For
Leaves are-
healing. Yeah, the leaves are the healing portion for the 1,000 years.
Mm.
So how do you know? Are you truly seeking the city which is to come? And how do you know? What does it say in Hebrews 13:10 through 6?
Even though
Moving forward.
Yeah, the city has not come, but we're still looking forward to it. If you're looking forward to it, that's faith. Do you see that? In Hebrews 11, it says, even Abraham looked to the city by faith. God is a builder of the heavenly city. So Abraham saw this stuff, whether in visions or whatever. He saw it in the future. That's why he was the first man of faith.
Mm.
In 2 Peter, he wrote of new heavens and earth in which the righteousness
Dwells.
Yeah. I'm going to go. Remember, I sent you a sheet. See if I can pull it up. Stop share. I sent you a sheet that looks really complicated.
Is that with all the arrows and the lines?
Yeah, yeah, with all the lines
With
and
others.
stuff. Part 2, Ezekiel, part 7.
There were two of them.
Mhm.
Yeah, there was, well, if you look at them, come on.
What happens to believers and unbelievers? And then there was a second one with the second coming to the New Jerusalem.
Okay, it's, oh, can you see that? I don't think you can. Share screen.
Mhm. Give me a chance to.
Do you see that? It's
Yes.
crooked. All right. And then the next page is that. Does everybody have that printed out?
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay, then I'm going to close this. So, okay. All right. If you look at that on one side, let's see here. Okay, what happens to the believers and unbelievers? Okay, you have on the first one, you have Pentecost. That happened after Jesus died, right? And was ascended into heaven, right?
Mhm. It's
Okay.
this one. Not that one, it's this one.
And that's when Abraham's bosom goes to heaven.
Yep. There's the
Okay.
arrow. Mhm.
What I say? I said the wrong one. Abraham, right?
Yep. Abraham's bosom to heaven on Pentecost.
Okay,
Led captivity captive.
right.
Whatever.
But the unbelievers' spirits
Here's the.
go to Hades, or it's kind of like a waiting place. It's not really hell yet, because the first person who goes to the lake of fire is who?
Satan.
No.
Oh,
No, it's the
these.
false prophet and the beast, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah, the Antichrist
Yeah.
and the false prophet. They're the first ones to go. Satan will wind up there, but after the final war, 1,000 years after the tribulation. Okay. So during this church era, which we're in now, believers after the cross and before the rapture, bodies in the ground or the sea. I like that, because you can drown in the sea, they go up to heaven. Okay. And this is then the rapture, then the rapture happens, and that's when those asleep get their immortal bodies, and those who are believers, if you're a true believer, you won't be left behind. You'll go and get your new body. Some think that you don't get your new body till everybody gets, because it gets real complicated when you get to the end of the 1,000 years. Well, we'll get that in a minute. I'm sorry. Jesus brings those who are asleep, and they get new bodies, and that's and sometime after that, the rapture or the tribulation will happen. The tribulation is how long?
7 years.
7 years.
Yeah, actually, the tribulation is 3.5 years, and the great tribulation is 3.5 years after that. You don't want to be on earth at that time. Trust me, it's going to be horrible. There's 2 witnesses that are killed by the Antichrist. They prophesied. There's 144,000 that go out in the world and proclaim that Jesus is the Lord. A bunch of things happen. You have the seals broken. Then you have, see, what's the next thing?
Bowls.
Then you have the bowls poured out on earth. Is that the second one?
Yeah, then the trumpets are last, I think.
No, the trumpets are second. Barbara, help me out here. Quit talking.
Yes, the trumpets are second.
Oh, the trumpets are second.
Yeah, I think the trumpets are second. Yeah.
And the bowls are the last?
That's when that's the wrathful God being poured out on the earth. And
Yeah.
it's really nasty. Right, Barb?
Ugly.
Yeah, she's saying yes, so I'm right. Because Barb said so.
Well, all right then.
Barb, you're muted, so we can't hear you at all. Oh, she was ranting and raving, wasn't she?
Sorry,
My Zoom is all messed up, so I can't get through it. And I'm muting because my grandson's here making noise, so. But I'm listening. It's good. Okay.
Yeah, so you have these seven trumpets, and at the seven trumpets, there's 30 minutes of silence in heaven. That's the seventh trumpet. And the doors to the holy place where God is are closed. A lot of people say, I've heard this said over and over, that's when God is crying because now the bowls are going to be poured out on his people. And he's, really sad about it. So then you have the seven bowls, and they're really nasty. Oh, I like in the fifth seal, the souls under the altar are saying, how much longer are we going to have to put up with this?
Yeah.
Okay, then if you turn the page over or you go to the second page, that's when Christ comes with his armies from heaven and treads the winepress. And that's when he starts doing the separation. Then the sheep enter the kingdom in Matthew 25. At the second coming, armies are killed, Satan is bound, sheep's killed. I mean, just a whole bunch. Nations killed at Gog and Magog, maybe, if that's it. It could happen then, or it could happen at the end of the 1,000 years. We don't really know. There's too much controversy about that. Then Satan will be is released, deceives the nation, battle of God. See, there it is again. Gog and Magog. Some of sheep's children deceived. Have you ever been deceived?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what is your question?
Have you ever been deceived?
Oh, deceive.
Yeah.
I thought you said deceased.
Yeah. Well, I know we're all diseased, but but when you're deceived and then you find out the truth,
Yeah.
it's just it's such a bummer, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, then you have the great white throne judgment room. You do not want to go there.
No.
Okay, you do not want to go there. That's when the unbelievers will actually be judged for their actions. Yeah, and then you'll have death. But then at the very end of all of this, we will enter into eternity. And we have no clue what that is going to be like, except I want to go planet hopping in my immortal body, imperishable body, because I'll probably do stupid things still. So, I mean, this is a neat handout if you want a real quickie, but it's very intense.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you that there's a whole bunch of different arguments. I know one priest told me, he goes, oh, you got to read this guy. He'll tell you all about it. So I read the book and I go, he didn't tell me a thing. He just, walked around everything. I get so tired of that sometimes. But the truth of the matter is nobody really knows what's going to happen, do they?
No.
I love it when, Ben told me this. I know you've all heard this. We're going to get there and Jesus is going to say, some of you got it wrong and some of you got it really wrong. I don't care how wrong I get it, just as long as I'm there with Jesus. What do you think?
Amen. Amen.
Yeah. So I'm going to do one more share, I think. There we go. So what did you get out of this study? It's been a long study. It's been a tough study, hasn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I'm wondering? I'm wondering why they didn't do this last lecture first, and I would have understood a lot better when I went through it. But yeah,
Is that not the truth?
yeah. It's like, now you're telling me this? We should have told you that earlier.
Well, I felt so bad for Claudia because she was asking all these questions, and I was going, well, we'll find out at the end. Sorry about
Yeah.
that. I know the first time we did it, it was like, wow. So there was just so much to this. Come on.
Actually, I found
However
Ezekiel
long
pretty
the more-
impossible.
Yeah.
What's
Sorry.
that? Pardon me?
I think we lost her sound system.
Oh. Okay. So anyway, I want to thank you for hanging in there. You guys, the ones that are here are, my true, a lot of people are doing the auditing because I get emails from them saying, oh, that was really good. I don't get the, oh, that was terrible, Denise. But I do wish you a very happy Christmas and a new year. And I'll contact you the dates for 1st and 2nd Corinthians.
Mm.
Thank you for joining the class. We will do 1st and 2nd Corinthians next year. I just,
Okay.
like I've told you before. Hi, Susan. Just saw the
Now
ear.
I can play my game now.
I see. Just a minute. Sorry.
And I think, Cheryl, were you the one that mentioned Galatians?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that has stuck in my mind, but we'll just see how I'm feeling after all this surgery I'm gonna have.
You gotta take care of yourself like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not much fun.
You said the
No, I'll be keeping you in prayer.
Thank
Yes.
you. Did you like this study though? I mean, have you learned anything?
I loved it.
I like the
I
study.
like it too.
Ezekiel's a lot better. Evelyn, you're muted.
I loved the study, and I thought your notes and the way you conducted it was great.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
your,
it was deep, but I thought you did just such a good job of laying it out for us when I do the homework and was confused. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed the class participation.
Yeah.
Mm.
It really helps because, there's so much to it. And like I've said over and over again, there's so many interpretations. I'm hoping that I get to read some of these books I have laying around,
Yeah.
on Barbara, have you ever read different theories on the revelation rather than the dispensationist viewpoint?
I'm just, I don't know. It's so complex for me. Yeah.
I found when I was doing this commentary was
Yeah.
very helpful.
Yeah, that's the one I use too.
And it was the Holman Old Testament on Ezekiel, but when I could not get through something, I found reading through that really helped.
Yeah, well, they put a lot of application in there, so that
Yeah.
always seems to help.
yeah.
Now, I'm
Can-
wondering. Go ahead.
Is there can you recommend a book for afterwards? I'm studying Zechariah next, but can you
Oh, good
recommend
luck.
anything after afterwards? I mean
You mean
Zechariah
like
and
in-
Ezekiel somehow belong together or relate to each other, but is there anything you would recommend to study? I mean, it doesn't have to be a book, but a kind of a topic. You mentioned something about, I can't remember now,
I'm
it slipped my
looking in
mind.
my.
Earlier you recommended some topics
Yeah, I'm
to
looking
study
what I
some
have
topic.
for Zechariah. I think I had the Holman study for that. The expository is always good.
It is. Good.
Let's see here.
David Dockery, general editor.
Who what? I know I've done Zechariah before, but it's clear on the bottom, and I can't bend over today.
Oh.
So let's see if I have that. I had to clean out a lot of books.
Right.
Joshua, yeah, it's probably fun. No, there's Zechariah right there. They shall be my people, and I will be their God. Oh, I did it by myself. Get out of here. I got too many things in this room. they suggest, well, if you look in your workbook, they have recommended commentaries.
Oh, right, okay. But I'm in more like another precept study, any topics that relate to it.
Ezekiel, but Ezekiel talks about the millennium at the end. And so we
Maybe Revelation
cross-referenced.
should, maybe Revelation should be my next program.
You do.
Okay, if you do precept, Barbara, can you mute, please?
I'm getting ready to.
Revelation is a 4-parter and takes about 2 years to get through it.
Oh,
Oh,
wow. Oh, okay, wow. Okay, well, no harm in doing that.
It's really
Yeah.
tough. It's, and you better
I,
find a
I,
good teacher on it, because
I did Revelation
I got
during,
kicked out of a class.
I did Revelation, the first 2 parts. And then I thought, I can't do any more of this for a while.
Yeah, but
Because
the
first
third
part was
part,
all,
the third part's the best part.
okay, then I will go back, because the first part you just do draw diagrams so you could figure out what the heck was going
You
on.
draw your little pictures.
But yeah,
I know. I'm not a picture person
Bible
either.
Study Fellowship is doing Revelation too, the whole
Yeah.
year. It's
Yeah.
a year study, but it has a lot of good materials to it. So
Actually, I'm doing that at the moment. I'm also with BSF, but their study
Is
isn't
that pretty
actually that
good?
much.
My
Uh,
aunt does be.
A different way of studying.
It is actually less intense. These precept studies are much more intense and much more in depth. I mean, if you say that there's 4 parts to Revelation and it takes 2 years, we go through Revelation in 1 year. So it gives you a basis, and I can really recommend it for people who are not so familiar with the Bible yet. I started it ages ago. I've done all their studies, and I think, yeah, you really benefit from them. They're good. They're biblical. It's interdenominational. I can really recommend it. And they also do Zoom classes these days, which really helps me, because I used to go in person, but now, because I'm traveling around, they're doing BSF online since the pandemic, actually, and they kept it up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can recommend it. But precept, I mean, the reason why I did this study and not any lighter one is because I really want to get into it
Yeah.
as much as I can. So
Yeah.
Well,
precept is more in depth.
that's why I like precept upon precept, because
Mhm.
it builds on it, and you can see the poetry of the Bible and how it
Mhm.
all really does fit together.
And
Yes.
it does teach you a method. I mean, when I can't read the Bible without noticing, oh, that's when, oh, that's where it happened, and you get that way. But one thing I've really enjoyed, if you want something lighter or something you can just do here and one and there, RVL, Ray Vanderlaan, has a bunch of videos on YouTube, and they show, I learned so much about the background, like we were talking about Jesus, being a builder, and pounding with a hammer. No, Jesus, if you look at the countryside of Israel, more many trees to build with. He was probably more of a stonemason.
Stonemaker, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah,
Actually, I
and
also found that out. I found that totally interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It's real interesting to get the background on some of the stuff you studied real deep.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
RVL, is that what you said?
He goes by RVL. It's Ray Vanderlaan, but sometimes
He's
you can
written a
pull it
lot
up.
of books too.
Yeah, he's got a lot of books written too.
We
So
love
not a
Evangeline.
Bible. He's
RVL.
got a 20. I think they're 20 volume video sets. I'm teaching one in our church now, and they are you listen to the video, and then I make up the study guide, the sheets, and we discuss it afterwards. But that's been real interesting and real
So is it
helpful.
in YouTube? Ray
It's on
Vander-
YouTube. Yeah, he's
So
got a
that-
lot of them free on YouTube.
So Ray
I'll
Vanderbilt.
be on.
No,
Vanderlaan,
Vanderlaan.
Vanderlaan.
Yeah.
Oh, Vanderlaan. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, I think you'll enjoy him.
Oh, yeah. He's excellent.
Very
There's a
good.
lot to learn out there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're
And
so
did you s-
blessed with what we have.
Yeah, we
Oh
have
yeah.
so many choices. Yeah.
Do you think? I
Actually,
mean, if
what's
you
really
think about
good with
the.
these, oh, sorry.
Now go ahead.
What I really value in these studies are the cross references, how this links to the New Testament and to other parts of the Bible, because sometimes you can't see it yourself. So
Yeah.
you're suddenly made aware of the fact that it all belongs together and one leads to another to another. And
Mhm.
so I really value these cross references.
I do too. Sometimes,
Yeah.
you know, if you just don't know what to do, you read a book and you look at the concordance in whatever Bible you're in and read every reference that they give you in the concordance. Learn a lot that way too, just on
Mhm.
your
Yeah,
own.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Or
Yeah.
you can get a Bible coordinates, you know, like I have a book. Ouch. It's just a
Concordance.
concordance. Yeah. You know, so like you can look up first fruits and it gives you every time or faithful or envy and this you know, has it all by words, you know,
Mm.
and then it'll tell you. So it's a great word study thing to use.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they just,
the
huh?
Olive Tree Bible online. I use the Olive Tree Bible online, and
Yeah, it drives
if you
me
get
nuts.
the NASB version, you can click on a word and it will give you the Hebrew or Greek word, and then it'll give you wherever it's found, and it'll define it in a bunch of different commentaries.
Blue Letter
So
Bible will
does
Blue
do
that.
that
letter.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blue Letter does that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I think you'll love First and Second Corinthians. It's very convicting. You will learn a lot more than you thought you will. Well, because we do a lot of word studies, and that's where you find out where I get these ideas that, you know, a new, like, you know, it's not real. The world is not destroyed. It's made anew. It's renewed. You know, and that comes from word study. You know,
Yeah.
so it's very interesting. Well, you're ready for what's her face? What's her face?
Hey, Arthur.
Kay Arthur.
Is it a good video? Did you already see it?
Yeah. Well, I saw it a long time ago. I
Oh.
haven't. Billy had to leave. Okay. But it's an hour long, so she's gonna talk quite a bit. So I need to stop recording. Where's that at? Man, oh, I don't know why. I don't want that. I want there.